Guys, just a quick check. Am I audible to everyone? Guys, you can say yes or no, it'll be fine. Am I audible to everyone, guys? All right, perfect. All right, folks. So let's begin the session. My name is Vishal Lingam, and this is how you can find me. I'm currently the serving as a chairman of Indian Blockchain Council. I'm also the CEO of Blockstein, and I'm into blockchain for almost 5.5 years now. I have invested a lot of time into blockchain technology, been following the trends. We have built a lot of products and solutions, and and since I'm part of the council, one of my part and you can say in hobby was to actually allow and let people understand about technology, and that's why I work a bit with Eureka guys to get this thing running. And as I say about blockchain technology, I've seen this industry when people were not even aware about blockchain technology, and till 2017 when the technology started being adopted by everyone, and we all know about the how Bitcoin has been operating, and that's one of the major focus for everyone across the globe to see about that how things might change, how the technology, how the blockchain as a platform, as a concept, as a framework is going to change the various aspects of distribute the databases, how things will operate, how we can have a decentralized system. And all these were just a myth before Bitcoin came into existence, and it has proven itself in past 9 years that yes, a system decentralized can be a possible, and yes, it is possible in such a big way that people are now understanding the power of blockchain technology. And that's why we call, I don't know. So how many of you have heard the statement that blockchain is the next internet? Anyone of you have heard that? Because that's one of the most popular statement that has been running in the internet for a very long time. And when I say that blockchain is the next internet, I personally believe in that. I firmly believe in that. But do you guys believe in that? How many of you know that blockchain is next internet? And before we even start, let's have a quick intro from all of you. So I would want everyone just give a quick one-line introduction on the chat. I will quickly say that, and then we will move through the whole webinar session. But I'd like to know that what is the expectation that you have from the webinar? What is that interests you about blockchain as a technology? Where do you see yourself, and what is that one part you want to understand from this seminar? I'm surely going to help you, because I can only try and help you if I understand that what is that you want to get out of this. So please write me a quick one-liner write-up on the chat box and window, and I will read through that for all of us. Again, and as I've said that I am been very much interested and invested into blockchain technology. Things have been moving really fast, and in 2017, I would say by after September end, or you can not September end, I would say October second week, things have started moving so actively in the Bitcoin ecosystem that the world has started gone crazy. And I'll tell you, if someone asks you today which is the hottest technology in the planet, that's blockchain. Which is the one thing that I must know, it's blockchain. Hey guys, if I want to move my curves or something, what do I learn? People say blockchain. Now blockchain has become so hyped that everyone wants to learn about it. But when you say learn about it, there are three kinds of places one can understand. People can get into the development, people can get into the applications, they can get into the architecture. I mean, there's so many aspects of blockchain technology that one can go into. I mean, I'll tell you, at my company we have a team of 100 plus people in New Delhi, India. And what we do is that we are still looking for a lot of people across the globe, not just India, to fill in our resource pool, because we are building a lot of products. We are getting a lot of requirements for people to help them with their blockchain ecosystem. So much of things are going across the market. And as I said, when this works this way, it's really important for all of us to join that, I would say, league before the time runs out. So I have Jay says that he's a solution architect at big data in oh, it gone up. 1 second, Jay. All right, in New York in a multinational bank. All right, fantastic. um Sashi Krishna is offline. Oh, he's going online offline. So he has a question: how the big giants in the retail sector is looking at the blockchain opportunity. Sashi, not they're looking at, people are working on that. I mean, the time to look and explore is gone for a lot of giants, or I would say I can name you like companies like JP Morgan Chase, NASDAQ in United States. They've already built in the platforms to do their trading systems. And that is the power of blockchain, that how different industries have started to adopt that. People are trying to find solutions. When you talk about fintech, we are trying to find solutions for identity management system. We are trying to find a solution for KYCs. And if you go to the supply chain, the banks, the supply chain companies are actively looking, and they're building already a lot of solutions on the platforms like Hyperledger, multi-chain, in order to reduce the operational cost these people actually incur by decentralizing the whole supply chain ecosystem. Then you can go on to the provenance systems where you can have a track of, all the assets from the point of manufacturing till the time it reaches to the end consumers. So the industry, you talk and you take a name at this time of industry, and it are looking at the application, because blockchain is not focused on industry. It's not. So I will say, guys, one thing: blockchain is not a technology; it's a concept. And how we can leverage the available technologies in the market with me in order to get blockchain as a ecosystem ready is where the skills for people like us comes into play. And that's what the industry is demanding right now. So everyone has a role to play, and it's totally up to us how soon we adopt that, because if we get delayed, someone else will do it. So why let it wait for someone else? Let's do it by ourselves. And that's where I started around 5 years back. And I'll tell you, I've been following Bitcoins for a very, very long time. I mean, I bought my first Bitcoin for $2, and that's because I believed in technology firmly. And since that inception, I've been actively exhibiting that. I've been never interested in the Bitcoin tradings, but what I've been understanding is the technology, that how this technology has leaped it so much in the market, that Bitcoin as a currency has become so popular that's being actively used, adopted across the world by the people across the world in different services reason. All right, then we have Baram. Baram says that he has been in the information technology infrastructure for over 20 years. He wants to learn how he can learn and implement blockchain technology into his career forward. Thanks a lot, Baram. Then we have Pankaj. Pankaj says that he got to know about blockchain once I came to know after Bitcoin, and then he read about this, and it looks very interesting. So we wanted to know more and more, looking to learn about that. Fantastic, Pankaj. We'll get to see a lot of things during this webinar. Then we have Archit. Archit said that, is blockchain really decentralized? Absolutely yes. Then how someone can make money if you build an app on the top of a blockchain? I'm not understanding the business aspects here. Archit, just give you a quick answer to this question. A decentralized system doesn't say that you should not make money. I mean, if you are doing a business, having any kind of system is only, see, at the end of the day, if a business is not making money, it's not business. All right, let's get this thing, I guess, very clear for all of us. We have to understand this thing. A business where money is not turning up, it's not no good for no one. But a system, when you talk about a decentralized system gives you transparency. Decentralized system gives you the power back in your hand. Decentralized system makes sure that you are not centrally controlled by anyone. Now, centrally controlled by anyone, that means that, let's, for example, in the case of, let's say, if you want to make a payment from A to B as of now, as of today, or let's say if you want to make a payment from US to India, you need to have so many people in between in order to get that transaction happen. And in that transaction, you're still, I would say, wasting a lot of money and time, and there's no transparency to get that transaction done. Still, we're using this, right? Now, decentralized system gives me a power where I can actually send that money in a fraction of seconds, and I can practically track it, and I can send it to any part of the globe in a fraction of seconds, and get it done. There are no people, there are no third parties who are going to do that. And that's what decentralized system gives me the power. But when it comes to power of money, I mean, obviously everyone wants to make money. If people are not getting incentivized, why are you even running the blockchain system? Take an example of Bitcoins. If the miners, who we call as they are the backbone of Bitcoin, of the blockchain, who verifies the transaction, they're incentivized with the Bitcoins. If they're not getting incentives, there's no reason for them to actually mine a Bitcoin. So that is how it works. There has to be a process where people understand that yes, blockchain is technology which is going to streamline, which is going to fix a lot of problems, a lot of issues for me, which we have been facing in the current database system, which is really centralized, controlled by the parties who owns it. It's more of a client server model that I am the client. I just have to, I'm only allowed to access it. That's it. So that is how this works. So there's so many business aspects that things gonna work, and things are being worked upon across the globe. Then we have Arun. Arun is a software architect. He is a blockchain next technology. So he wants to understand. Hey, Arun, thanks a lot. You will surely understand a lot of stuff. We have Zahir. Zahir is working an associate director for one of the IT companies. His purpose of the session is to know more about blockchain as he's looking at current blockchain. He has worked with companies like Bank of America, ANZ, and JP Morgan Chase. Fantastic. So here, then we have Viru. We want to know the technology involved and be able to code and deploy. What are the prerequisites to learn the code? I've been IT to for almost 10 years. There haven't been no prerequisites. I mean, I'll tell you, blockchain, as I said, it's a concept, right? You'll find different platform in different language. Like C, the Bitcoin is written in C. Now Solidity, the Ethereum language, is written in JavaScript. So, and when you go back to Hyperledger, it's written into Go language. So every framework is into a different programming language. If you but at the end of the day, if you understand basics of programming, it's a piece of cake for anyone to go and understand. The only part in blockchain technology is to understand that how this ecosystem will operate. What are the stacks that will operate? If I have to understand this as a technology, for me the very first part to understand is the stack, is the concept, is the the whole structure behind that, how blocks gets formed, how hashing happens, etc. And that's what I have been focusing for a long time, where I've been helping the people across the globe to understand this technology so that they can actually make a smart decision and how exactly things going to help. Now we have Muru. Muru wants a career change blockchain. It is really going mad. Absolutely, Muru. This is going mad. It's just so fantastic as of now in the market that the world is going crazy about that. Then we have Sai. The Sai is working as Oracle PeopleSoft developer for 4.5 years as a Oracle. He knows that they no longer provides implementation, and they are also going to kill the PeopleSoft in coming years. So he's planning to change his career towards blockchain. Please let me know the right time to move. Sairam, this is the absolutely right time to move. I'm telling you, in another couple of years, I would not couple of years, I would say next 3 to 5 years, that is the time where the world is going to get that skill set ready for the blockchain. Because as of now, to find a right blockchain developer or a consultant or architect, it's so hard for me. I mean, it's more of a needle in a haystack. I mean, if I have to find a guy who is good in blockchain development or in architecting, I have to spend days in order to get one right guy. So believe me, the option is really fantastic. Jay says SEC has suspended Bitcoin. What is a long shot for Bitcoin? I'm not really sure what you mean by the statement. SEC, no one has suspended Bitcoins as of now. SEC is even looking actively how to regularize the cryptocurrencies in order for the ICOs and in order for other cryptocurrencies, because no one in the world can actually shut down Bitcoin. So there's no way anyone can have an access and say, you know what, I'm suspending Bitcoin. Because even though if we do suspend that, let's say, I'll give you a vague example, the people are still going to use it. I mean, they will find a way to use it, and that becomes illegal and challenge for the government to do it and track anything. And so that is one of the reasons that's it cannot be suspended. Now we have Narayan. Narayan is a SAP consultant, SAP consultant. He heard about SAP is doing more development using blockchain technology. Yes, Narayan. SAP is working on a platform which is called a SAP Leonardo, and that is because SAP is actively involved in financial technology for a long time. It's been helping a lot of clients across the globe, and that is where the blockchain technology will come into play. They're blinking at their own platform where you can actually help the clients across the market to use and leverage this technology in order to reduce their costs, in order to see how will this will affect and entirely change their whole business mechanism. Then at last we have Hema. Hema, oh, he's Bala actually. Now Bala, I want to understand what are the prerequisites for people to make career in blockchain after their graduation, especially for people of non-IT background who are very. That's fine, Emma. One of the, as I said, one of the important aspect for a fresher, I'm going to tell you that what I look into the candidates is that you should be really good with the concept. You should understand how this whole technology operates. Now, this technology, which we call it blockchain, does not require any difference. It does not require any prerequisites for you to learn. You can learn it from scratch because it's not precisely a technology or programming language, but more of a concept. So in order for me, if you have to guide you, I could say that you need to understand the concepts of blockchain technology, and one of the best courses that I'm supporting in the market right now as a council and as an individual also is the Edureka score, and that's why I'm giving my time to let people understand about that. So yes, you can understand a lot from this course also, which is there, which is being, and I am one of the guys who actually trained on a couple of batches. So that's one more thing about me in Edureka. All right, then we have a question from Rakesh. Hey Vishal, can you tell me the difference between Bitcoin and smart contract based Ethereum? Sure, Rakesh. So let me just quickly tell you. I mean, let's move to the slides. I will surely tell you the basic differences. Then we have Bhavesh, electrical engineer, no idea of programming any language. That's fine. I'll tell you guys, or people who are from non-programming background. I do come from a background of electronics engineer. Okay, I did study programming, but if someone asks me that am I, I'm a hardcore blockchain developer, no, I'm not. But I know this concept technology. I can set yes in and out. I can tell anyone and anytime that what's going on. I find myself as a blockchain architect. I define the platform, I define the stacks, I design the stacks, and let the people understand that what exactly they need to use. So that's fine. I mean, if you're not from a programming background, that's okay. But yes, with time you're investing into blockchain, it's good that if you know a bit about programming, because being an architect is one of the most important part if you know the stacks in and out, right? Okay, if Orchid, he says that if there's no centralized entity, then who we gonna verify the transaction, how the money will transfer from A to B without the bank? All right, so let's get back. Let's get into the whole aspect of blockchain. Now, now let me see. Let's tell you what blockchain is. We've been talking about for almost 10 minutes about blockchain. Now, the one part of about so, Archie, let me tell you, you don't have to be told so depressed. I'll tell you the reason behind that. Now, one of the reasons that how exactly a transaction operates. Let's get back to understand that before we move to the further slides. Leave blockchain, leave Bitcoin, leave Ethereum, leave anything. Just think about how a transaction happened between A to B. If you're sending a money, for example, let's say, I'll tell you before even saying that, let me tell you this way. Anything or everything that is happening over the internet is a transaction. It doesn't mean that it's a monetary transaction and a non-monetary transactions. So how many of you actually believe me that anything that's happened on the internet is a transaction, whether I'm accessing my email, whether I'm sending a hi message, whether I am downloading a movie, anything that I'm trying to do over the internet is a transaction. So how many of you do believe the statement when I say that all the aspects that happens on the internet about doing anything is a transaction? Guys, come on, a yes or no would be nice. Okay, I've got one yes, yes, two, four, three. Oh, I've got more yes. All right. Okay, perfect. So I see a lot of people are replying with a yes, and I'll tell you the reason behind that. Okay, now Rashid, I'm going to come back to your question that if a transaction is happening across the internet, now when we're talking about the transaction which requires the monetary values, or I would not say, let's say monetary values, when we're doing a transaction which is valued in terms of aspect, then we need people to verify that. That's what the currency, that's how we trust the system. We trust the people, we trust the back end party, third parties who are going to verify a transaction. And the most easiest example is a movement of money. If I'm moving money from my bank, one bank account to a different bank, second bank account, then I will have the people who we call as the back office of the banks, or the verifiers, or the auditors, or the validators for that sake, to actually verify the transaction, to settle it, to move the funds from A to B, and all that stuff. And these people are the one we believe personally. And when I say that we believe them, that is the reason I'm trying to put the point that we are somehow controlled by a bank. If a bank doesn't operate, I mean, the moment I'm done with the transaction, let's say if I'm up to move money, the moment I'm done with the transaction from my side, I am done. I mean, that's the only thing I can do. And how much time that transaction is going to take to reach the party, I don't know. I can't track it. I can't trace it. It's not such a transparent system. and still I'm paying some amount of money as a fees to the bank to get that part done. Now, when you talk about a decentralized system, what happens in a decentralized system? That we're not having humans to do that job. We're having the machines to do that job, because the machines cannot cheat. The machines cannot tamper anything. They can only do the things as the way they are guided. Now, take an example of Bitcoin. The sole reason the Bitcoin came into existence was not about blockchain technology, but it was more about how transactions can happen in a peer-to-peer exchange mechanism. So Bitcoin, if in 2009 when it was launched, or I would say 2009 starting, Bitcoin was actually activated, the whole purpose for Bitcoin was to do a peer-to-peer currency exchange where no third parties are involved. And how that happens is that the moment a transaction is happening between two parties, the first thing that happens is that it goes to the blockchain ecosystem. Now, the blockchain ecosystem is completely distributed. That means we have the nodes, which we call as miners, or you can say people which are across the globe who are spread there and who are giving their computing power in order to verify a block. When we say verify a block is nothing that consists of a set of transactions, a set of some encrypted values. Now these values are needs to be verified with the help of a miner. Now miners are devices, they're not human beings. They are actually computer machines who actually start, calculating the values of these blocks, and this takes amount of computing power to get that job done. So what is happening here, that you are actually putting enough amount of power in order to verify a transaction, and when something is getting verified with the help of a machine where I'm putting the enough no power to verify a transaction, that means I'm solving a problem where I am helping the ecosystem by not cheating it. And I cannot cheat it because the moment a miner pushes information into the blockchain as a verification that, okay, fine, I am verifying this information, this is right, it should be pushed to the blockchain. The rest of the participants in the ecosystem, which it has to come on a consensus that yes, whatever this person has actually published, I believe in that. And when people come on the consensus, so that is the place that the transaction is verified. So when you talk about any other system that is there in the market, whether it's the banks or any other places that you're trying to do a transaction, we all have the backend people who verify. So transfer. Let's take example of stock market. You buy a stock, you settle stock, but nothing you say you can do it. I mean, the stock market normally works from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in most countries, and after this time the settlement of the stocks and the securities that we have bought starts. But why is that the case? Because nothing is centralized, everything is somehow controlled by different parties. I mean, the moment I have to buy a stock, I have to just go to my broker, then our broker goes to exchange, the exchange goes to the stock owner and the issuer, and then we get the stock which gets back to the all these parties and get that done. Now in this whole process there's so many people who are involved, and even one party, if it gets out of the hand, or let's say it's unavailable for xyz reason, I'm unable to do my trade. And that's how we are centrally controlled by the the ecosystem. So now this is how exactly the whole operations of the transaction works. In the case of example, the question that you had precisely is the Bitcoin, and that is how Bitcoin is, or as a block is as a technology. Bitcoin as a as a an asset, and is doing really good, and people across the world have started to accept that that how things are going to operate. So did that answer your question, Archit? All right, guys, perfect. Thank you. So we move to this slide which says talks about that, as I said, that Bitcoin came into existence in the year 2008, where a group of people, I would say, or an individual, we still do not know who that person is till date. His name was Satoshi Nakamoto, and they submitted a white paper that how peer-to-peer distributed exchange system can actually operate. And since that the inception of blockchain has came to existence, I'll tell you one thing which is really important, that blockchain was never even a word till before that Satoshi Nakamoto published in the white paper the word block and chain. And why it's called blockchain, I'll tell you One very quick example for that it will make so easy for you to understand why it's called blockchain is that we do hundreds of transactions in the ecosystem, and all these transactions are bundled in a block, and all the blocks once gets verified with the help of miner, they pushed into a ecosystem. And what happens in that ecosystem, all the blocks who are being coming next, they somehow are a part of the previous block, and they're all chained together. That means if I have two blocks, let's say A, B, and C, then the block C is going to have a value which is associated with block B, and block B is going to have a value which is associated with block A, and that's how all blocks are chained together, and that is why we call this sum as a blockchain. Now we've also to say that is it efficient way to verify and validate the blocks using proof of work, as a miners take a lot of CPU, memory, and time to do that. I mean that mining that really can cost a mining thing really cons for Bitcoin. I, I will have to disagree with you from our side. It is not about the proof of work as a mechanism. If you have been following this technology, you must be aware about that. There's proof of work is just one of the ways to do that. Now, since Bitcoin is a public blockchain, you cannot have you don't want to have any other proof of mechanism in order to get the transactions verified, right? We do have a mechanism called as proof of stake. We have proof of elapsed time. We have proof of process. So there's so many mechanisms that I can actually get my transaction verified. And in order for that to be done in a public blockchain, I will never want to use anything apart from proof of work, because I would want people to be a part. In order to generate, in order to gain anything, they have to put in some kind of efforts in terms of computing capacity to get my transactions done. I mean, think about again. Let's go back to your example. Go to a bank or a trade system. What do you think? We have a tons of machines, $1 zillion of power putting in the system to get the system running. Why are we doing that? That's not even required. So in saying that when we are putting a lot of computing power to get anything done, that's how it works. You would need enough infrastructure resource to get your job done in terms of when it comes to a transaction mechanism. You talk about banks, you talk about stock market, you talk about supply chain ecosystems, you talk about healthcare industry. You will not find any system across the world which is running without a resource capacity. So when we do the Bitcoin ecosystem, we are running a resource capacity. Now this resource capacity is not controlled by anyone, and that's why it's fantastic, and that's why it's so transparent that I can practically track what is happening with my transaction. I know that whatever in the system is there, it can never be fraud, can never be conned. And one of the most important part of this technology is that Bitcoin or and any aspect of a blockchain can never be tampered, can never be changed. It's fraud resistant 100%, and no one can actually go and practically change information in a blockchain. So Bitcoin, if you see, or if it's a blockchain, it's a continuously growing list of records, and all the blocks are linked and secured using the cryptographic, which means they are actually encrypted and linked together. Now we know that Bitcoin is the first cryptocurrencies. It uses cryptography and mathematical algorithms. When I say cryptography and mathematical algorithms, I am precisely talking about the algorithms like RSA, SHA-256. And these are the mechanisms that we are used in the Bitcoin ecosystem in order to actually hash a transaction, or you can say, again, a simpler language, encrypt a transaction. Now, Bitcoin was never devised to have an infinite quantity. So what has happened is that they were only proposed to have only 21 million in the ecosystem. So as of now, if you see the ecosystem, Bitcoin can only have 21 million Bitcoin on any given day. And that is because if you would have a surplus amount flow of Bitcoin, it would have been it wouldn't be holding that value that it is holding as of now. So it's more of a case that we had Bitcoins in limited amount of quantity, and now we have to use it and put in more power in order to get that system or get those Bitcoin mined. And that is the interest for the miners across the globe to get that done. So here is a question: how many Bitcoins already created so far? Right, as of now, we have mined near about 16 million Bitcoins already, and we are left with 5 millions. And to mine those 5 million, it's going to take another 70 to 80 years or more than that to get that done. Because one of the very important part of a Bitcoin blockchain or in the blockchain as a technology, that all these blocks, whenever a new block is getting mined, so the next block which is going to get mined is always going to be more difficult in order to get verified. That means there is a difficulty coefficient or quotient which is registered or which is gets generated with every block when we're mining that. And this difficulty quotient decides that how much energy, how much time a block is going to take in order to get that done. So that is how it's going to operate. That in order to mine a bitcoins, we have to put enough power. Now, question from Hannah, that any alternative to proof of work in public chain? Hannah, yes, proof of stake is one of the mechanisms that Ethereum in the blockchain is going to have very soon an upgrade. Where in the proof of stake, you still, what happens that you don't have to put in the computing power, but you need to own a certain amount of stake in terms of tokens of the ecosystem in order to provide your authenticity. So you might have to go to the system and then put in your tokens or burn your tokens or invest your tokens in order to be a part of the system. It's more of like a stake system where you hold the stake, and then you are, in order for you to be a part of the transaction, you have to provide and invest those stake of tokens to get that done. Now Arshit saying that there's another technology, IOTA Tangle, which is like a cyclic vector graph. If blockchain is linked list type concept, we talk about this. This IOTA Tangle does not require mining. Arshit, so let me know. Let's put it this way. When you talk about the cyclic vector graph, let me just unmute you for a second so that we can just quickly talk about that. Hi Arshit, how are you? Can you hear me? Arshit, I can't hear you if you're speaking. All right, looks like Archie is not available on the audio. All right, so talking about the IOTA or any other technologies of now, um, I'm not going to get into this seminar, but I'll give you one quick brief about that. If you see the technology stack, even for IOTA, how do you think it operates? It's really simple. All these technology stacks, they are somehow operating on the aspects of blockchain as a technology. They're somehow being decentralized. Even in IOTA, you have IOTA tokens. Why do we need IOTA tokens if it's not a system which is working on the blockchain like a linked list type concept? It is a tangle where you're using the resource pool across the market to get your job done. We're still pooling the resource from the devices to get it done. Why? That is the reason, because in order to have an ecosystem ready, I am just redefining these platforms in a different language. You go to your hyperledger, it say that I am a proof of I am use proof of stake and proof of elapsed time, so I'm not a blockchain aspect. No, every platforms in the world which is somehow being developed is using the base ground values of blockchain as a technology. Now I'm not just talking about Bitcoin or Ethereum in that case. I'm just talking about blockchain as a technology. So even IOTA, if you talk about, it does not require mining, but the verification happens with the help of the stakes, the tokens that you hold. And in any system, if you're not having the stake or you do not have any mechanism for the verification of transaction, then the system is practically not viable for any processes. So I hope that answers the question. Now we have Pateli said that from a beginner, how could I mine Bitcoin? I mean, what are the hardware to procure, from where to procure in India? How do we set up? Still, I will just again give a very brief about that. In order to mine that, there's a specialized hardware that needs to be bought in or purchased. You may get in India, you may not get in India, but yes, there are certain set of hardware. We call them miners. We call them, and one of the names is called as S9 miners. So you can actually go on the internet, see that, and then you would do the mine. And in terms of having a knowledge in mining, it's quite amount of information that we need to know in order to do that. So maybe when you enroll in this course, then you would be able to understand that what are the aspects that you would need to understand in order to get that done. If you're short on time, so I'm really sorry I can't take this topic order for a long time, but yes, mining does require quite a lot of information before you get into that. What kind of miners I need to use, what are the transactions blocks comprised of, how much money do I make, and what are different pools, etc. Then we have Pankaj saying that his own mining takes a lot of resource and consuming more electricity, and which may not be ideal for future purposes. Isn't that? Pankaj, again, as I said, when we talk about mining consuming a lot of resources across the world, there's so many other things are doing the same. I mean, the point that we're focusing on Bitcoin blockchain precisely in here is not the blockchain ecosystem. So we have to understand this way, that Bitcoin blockchain is not the only blockchain. It's only one mere application of blockchain technology. So what Bitcoin blockchain is capable of it's doing. It is designed to work in that way. But if I have to operate, understand this as a technology, as a concept, that how I'm going to implement that in my ecosystem. Because if I focus myself that how Bitcoin blockchain is going to do for the world in another 5 or 10 or 20 years, that isn't going to help me, because what I would always be focusing is that how I can leverage this technology to build the ecosystem behind me. All right. Then we have Zahir. Any reasons why there's a limit of? So Zahir, it's really simple. It's to limit its coins. I mean, it's just a random number that these guys put in, but it's when you limit something in the market, the value becomes more, and people start to understand that it's not in surplus quantity to use that. Then we have Vijay. Do we have mining in IBM Fabric, Hyperledger Fabric? We don't call. So, guys, I'll tell you, mining means verification of a transaction, verification of a block, and we have this in every technology stack. So, in if Fabric, yes, we do, and we have that mechanism called as proof of stake or proof of elapsed time, whatever we want to use in that ecosystem. Then we have Hema say why people are talking about energy conservation and harvesting natural resource, how these miners basically will be justified. It's not about justification. They're not wasting the resources. Again, let me put it this way. When the banks are using ton loads of servers across the globe, how are we going to justify that then? We say that the banks are as helping the public in order to verify the transaction and to get that ecosystem ready. We're okay with that. Then why are not we okay? Then we have a system which is helping me to take all these parties out of the play and give the power back to my hand as a user. Then why will I not be okay with that system? So I'm sure if this answers your question or not. Then we have Muru who says that mining is somewhat centralized in blockchain, dependent on miners, but with IOTA it is done by peers itself. Peers who initiate the transaction verifies two existing transactions. So here's the dependency gets reduced and is equal distributed. Muru, I'm going to partially agree with you. Yes, when you say mining is centralized, no, that's not the case. I mean, we cannot say that mining is centralized. It is still being distributed among the peers across the globe, and all the peers are not even defined that who is going to mine the next block. So it's not centralized in any way. Centralized would be a way where if there are set of miners who are the one only going to, who are will be mining the transaction, that's the case when it becomes centralized. But the peers across the globe have no idea that who's which miner is going to get the next transaction, because it's completely distributed. All the miners have to putting the amount of work, or they have to do an amount of work which we call as proof of work in order to mine a block. So that's how it operates. So as I said, I partially agree with you. Now we have Bharam. It says, what career type would I be able to enter as a 20-year IT expert in enterprise? I'll tell you, Bharam, I have been explaining people in companies like Visa or MasterCard or Amex, and I've explained, I've been consulting people from CXO side and on CXO groups. One of the best part of a person like your experience to get into the consulting, to understand how the architecture operates. And because right now one of the biggest demands in the market is a blockchain consultant, because if I'm unable to design my stack, I would not be able to do anything apart from that. So that's how it operates. Now guys, this what is blockchain? Now let's have a quick understand about blockchain. Uh-oh. Now, as I said, that in blockchain, what happens that every time a new transaction is pushed into the block, these blocks are then verified with the help of the miners, and all these miners, after verifying the block, pushes them into the blockchain, and all these aspects of blockchain technology is happens there when all these blocks are being chained and linked together. And that's how this PPT is trying to show me in an animated way that how blocks are actually linked with each other. Now, what are the features of blockchain? We know that's encrypted, that all the transactions are encrypted with mechanism. It's a distributed public ledger. So when I say a distributed public ledger, I'm precisely talking about Bitcoin or any open or permissionless blockchain. Now, just to quick tell you, there are two kinds of blockchain that we have. We have a private blockchain and we have a public blockchain. A public blockchain is something what we know about, like as Bitcoin or Ethereum in that case. But obviously, when we're going to build an application in an enterprise, I would not want to use a public blockchain which is accessible by anyone across the globe. In that scenario, I will use a private blockchain which is going to help me to build my applications. And then we have the consensus mechanism, that is proof of work in the case of Bitcoin or Ethereum. Then we have the incentives for validation, that someone who is going to verify a transaction always get incentivized for whatever amount of work they're actually putting in the power. Now the question comes into play that what are the different use cases? What are the industries where blockchain is going to be used for? So I'll tell you, these are the five major industries which are being focused right now with blockchain, and financial services or financial technology or fintech, we which say call it, is the most adaptive technology or most adaptive industry as of now, which is accepting blockchain as a solution. Then we have the voting mechanism system. Then we have the real estate market, where the blockchain is using and being implemented actively to get this solution done. So build the ecosystem so that people can actually utilize and leverage this as a technology. Then we have a music streaming companies where you are actually trying to save the artist from of putting there a lot of money in order to get their recordings verified and safe. And then we have a supply chain system as one of the applications. I have a question on Hima. One salt block accounts for how many blocks when a block is said to be? I'm not really sure, Hima. What does that mean? If you can just restructure the question for me. Marcia said, as public ledgers is immutable, then how we are going to manage it if we use it for 20 or 30 years? That ledger becomes too large to tackle. That's fine. I mean, if a ledger becomes too large, that's okay, because we will have those many of resources across the market to handle it. I mean, you can only manage the system if you have enough amount of hardware, right? So if you take these miners across the globe, they come together to put in the computing power in order to make that infrastructure so capable of. So that is how it's going to operate even for next 20, 30, or 100 years, and that's how it will take the system. So how many bitcoins? So as of now, I'll tell you, Hima, the incentives are different. So when initially started for mining one block in a Bitcoin, you were getting 50 Bitcoins, and every 4 year it is getting halved. So as of now, to mine one block of Bitcoin, you get a reward of 12.5 Bitcoins. In Vijay Kumar's supply chain, been mining, and why? Vijay, as I said, so mining is one of the terms that we use for the verifications. Okay, so verification or validating a transaction in a blockchain ecosystem. So in the case of supply chain, we will use we would need a verification mechanism, and for that case, I will use proof of stake or proof of elapsed time to get my job done. So when I need to verify my transaction, I will need any of a consensus mechanism where the parties across the network can actually come on a consensus for a precisely a specific transaction. That is how it will operate. Does that answer your question, Vijay? Now we see that one of the industries, financial technology. Now in financial services, so many operations and applications are being developed. And I said that in the trade industry, if you see Nasdaq is already going to run a blockchain trading ecosystem, because that is going to decrease the efficiency cost for them. It is going to decrease a lot of operational costs that these people actually incur to get that job done. And when I say that to get the job done, that means I'm precisely talking about that how these people will use the blockchain as an ecosystem in order to get all these third parties, or I would say not third party in the case of all these stakeholders together on a one singular platform, that how it can operate. So financial technologies are going to have a various applications. We have settlement applications which is being built upon the blockchain, and how settlement can happen in real time, and etc. I have a question from Hema. She's saying that I'm not asking about reward. One block accounts for how many bitcoins of transactions when the block is set. Hema, so let me rephrase your question, because what you're asking is not correct. So what you're trying to ask is that in a block of a Bitcoin, how many transactions are there? Is that correct? Am I there? You're perfect. So as of now, a Bitcoin, so I'll tell you a quick story about that. When Bitcoin was initially initiated, the block size was kept to 1 MB in size, where that means a block was able to handle around 2,000 transactions in general. And with the time inception and people adopting more, the number of transactions have increased so much that a block was just able to handle 2,000 transactions. Then most of the transaction was getting in a pending state. So what happened in like around 4 to 6 months back, that there was a big fork happened, Bitcoin fork happened. If you guys have heard about the news, a new currency called as Bitcoin Cash was formed. I'm not going to get into the forking part as of now, but when the forking happened, my forking is going to the forking was actually there to increase the block size. That the block size as of now, the currently is now increased from 1 MB to 4 MB. And now if you talk about transactions in a block, we can have more than 20,000 transactions. But this block is going to get filled with time. So as and when how many transactions are required, they can be used in. So as of now, if you talk about me current number of transactions, it goes near about 3,000 to 4,000 transactions in a block of Bitcoin. We just said in your session which blockchain technology become, which I'm not going to cover any specific technology or any specific platform. What I'll be covering up is that the basic use cases of the platform. As I said, there are multiple platforms like Bitcoin, we have Ethereum, we have multi-chain, we have Hyperledger, and once we come in the course, we will get to understand that what are different kinds of platform that we will be available. Actually, I do not understand your question. That can we use blockchain in software technology? You need to give me a use case example so that I can relate that, because I'm still unable to understand what exactly you want me to answer. All right, so moving to the next slide, we see that the voting mechanism system, that how votings can actually be done when it comes to blockchain. And I'll tell you, if gives an example of Estonia, even if you talk about, you go in Delaware, United States, these people are also starting to the voting with the help of voting with the help of the blockchain ecosystem. And how will happen that people across the, so what happens in a blockchain, if I'll talk about the cryptography and algorithms, what I see that it's all about the private key and public key. So those who understand this concept a bit about, that's fine. If those who do not even, that's fine. So we have a private key and public key, and these private key and public key defines the authenticity of a user who is going to make any operation in terms of transactions or anything. Now, when it comes to a voting mechanism system, we can actually allow the users to have an application which lets them to have a private key where their public keys are being associated with the application where the voting is going to happen. And when all these votes, when the moment they get done, they get on the blockchain, where rest of the nodes or rest of the people actually come on a consensus to accept a vote. And that is how we can make the voting more transparent, more efficient, and more faster, and more visible to everyone. So, and one of the aspect where you can actually go on a website called as followmyvote.com to see how even voting can operate when we work in a blockchain ecosystem. Chai, we have a question. Chai, can I be a blockchain consultant anywhere in the world? Absolutely, anywhere in the world, because every country, every city in the world, every technology company is looking for blockchain consultants. So wherever you go, you can just find something for that. Brum said, if since you're involved with Edureka blockchain certificate in core, what courses do I need to take to be enough so I can apply the blockchain? Brum, this course will give you a clear understanding about the technology, its concepts and stats, and then you would have to choose that after doing this course for 30 hours, which is that one platform that you might have to move forward, whether you want to move with Bitcoin consulting as a, because Bitcoin consulting is a great job. People are asking a lot for that. You want to move as Ethereum consulting, you want to become a Hyperledger consultant. I mean, in order to do that, to become a consultant, you should be able to understand all these platforms precisely, and you have to invest a lot of time to do that. We just say that I want to learn implementation of blockchain technology. Will you help me on this? Absolutely, Vijay. We will show you that how to. So in this course, I'll tell you why I personally help people to learn this course is is how this is going to operate. Is that give me 1 second, guys. I was having a bad throat. Okay, so I have. All right, Brent, I will answer your question. Yes, you can apply to consultants. What courses do you need to take to be enough? So, as I said, course it will never be enough for you to learn in blockchain technology, but yes, this course will help you precisely to understand this technologies, different stacks. We will see how to deploy a blockchain. We will deploy our own blockchain or private blockchain in this whole course, and we'll also see how Hyperledger operates, how to deploy a blockchain of Hyperledger. So you will understand different technology stacks in this whole course. We have Archie here. He want to build a system which uses blockchain in order to manage the code. Maybe I can't really explain it. Archie, I'm still unable to understand, but if I can't understand it, I can answer it. But what, let me put it, make it a bit easy for you. Where you want to manage a code, I mean, I'm not sure you want to store the code, you want to keep your code decentralized. I mean, you want people to contribute to the code. I mean, what exactly is that we want to achieve in there? I mean, if I can understand that, I can surely answer your query. Vijay said, I mean, he's certain from a non-tech aspect of this, not only concept as I am a developer. Yes, Vijay. So that's what I'm saying. That Blockchain as a technology does not say that you need to have a technology background in order to be a part of this ecosystem. As I said, a business analyst, it doesn't have to be a technology guy. So one can become a business analyst in order to get that job done. One can actually become an analyst in terms of to how the stack should operate. I mean, it is very important to find the use case. It's very important to develop the stacks from there. The development parts on blockchain technology comes in the last, when you have the architects and consultants and analysts combining together to form a use case model and get that job done. That's where the part of a developer comes into place. So everyone has a different aspect of doing that. Does this course require blockchain consultant required to be a C++ or JavaScript, Java or developer? No, absolutely not, Bram. What I said, as I said, that this course will not teach us about the programming language. It will teach us about the blockchain technology. What are the different frameworks available in the market? How do I implement? So when we talk about that, oh, it's a blockchain, we have a transactions, we have a miner. How do these things actually operate? How do even look like? And that's what we will be going through this course. And that is why, as I said, that my interest being is letting people understand that why this technology works, how this technology operates. Now, as I said, one of the part is the real estate. Now in the real estate part, I'll tell you guys, one of the important aspect is the documentation, is to having the assets on the blockchain and how can they can operate. And blockchain solves a lot of huge paperwork issues, because then for getting me a verification done for a transaction, I don't have to practically store it in a paper. I can actually get it done and actually have it done in blockchain and get the verifications done with all the parties in a consensus coming together. One of the example is Ubiquiti. So you can actually go on internet and have a look at this Ubiquiti platform. You will see what exactly this does. Or maybe let me quickly show you so that how this operates, just for the sake of understanding. If you see this platform, guys, as a blockchain platform for assets. So what is going to happen, that you have to put in join this blockchain, and these people are running their own blockchain ecosystem. So they're not doing anything. So Archie, maybe this line can answer your question, that these people are currently piloting their SaaS platform, that software as a service, with the Land Records Bureau in Brazil. So that means they are actually outsourcing their service for as a SaaS to the people across the globe to get it done on the terms of real estate. Yes, absolutely. It is possible to deploy everything without knowledge of coding, and when we'll go through this course, we will see that how that is possible. Thanks, Rashid. I'm glad that I answered your question. All right, guys. So the next part is that where things will come is the music streaming. Now we know that there are a lot of artists across the globe who are providing some content, but they do not have a place where they can actually authenticate and get this content verified and have ownership of that. And that is the reason, because if let's say if I am I'm going to go on iTunes. I can only go on iTunes to get my transactions verified and get this done, and I still be able to download this music from the rest of the place. That means an artist is losing a lot of money for by the illegal downloading. Now think about a blockchain ecosystem where I'm putting all the artists, and all the artists are saying that the only place you can actually get this done is on the blockchain. And how will that help? Is that you will find a place that you can directly buy and sell your offerings to the customer without even involving any party like MyTune or iTunes or Amazon or Flipkart or any example of that case. And that brings you and gives you the power where how blockchain is going to help you even in terms of the music streaming. And the platform we just talked about, Mycelia, I'll just quickly show you what Mycelia does. If you see this website, come on, why it's taking too much of time. On Mycelia, anyone can actually go and put in their they put in their musics, and then it goes to the blockchain. The people across the blockchain verifies that, and the person, I as a person, will get the authentication and the verification ownership of that precise transaction, which we call as a music upload or whatever in that transaction. This gives me the authenticity. This gives me the ownership of my asset. If anyone wants to download that asset, they have to put in the Mycelia tokens to get that done. Now, when they have this, every time a transaction is being done and then it's coming in the network, it's in a format that it can only be structured in a specific device. That's why because it is hashed. The whole transaction is encrypted. Even the musics are encrypted when it comes to the blockchain. Because for blockchain, a music, whether it's a music or a document, everything is data. And the only part of blockchain that technology has to do is to encrypt the data or hash that data. So it doesn't matter that we're putting music or documents or pictures, nothing. Everything is going to behave at the same place. And I'll tell you, there's so many applications which are being using blockchain technology. I'll tell you one of the applications which will interest you, that how something like Dropbox or Google Drive can be decentralized. Now, see, Storage. Now, Storage is a distributed cloud storage platform where people are actually using their computing resources to rent it out and make an open source cloud storage. So what is going to happen? My storage is not centrally controlled anymore by anyone. And if you've seen that, if you've heard about that, there was a hack happened into the iCloud few months back, or I would not say few months back, in 2017, that a company like iPhone, if iCloud can get Apple, or a company like Apple can get hacked, anyone in the world can get hacked. But when you have a decentralized cloud storage, there's no central authority or location for you to have your data structure hacked. And that's how the decentralized cloud storage is going to help me in such a way that how things will operate in the blockchain. Now, moving to the next part, we have the supply chain. Now, in the supply chain, we see one of the most important part is to have these middlemen who are a part of a whole transaction ecosystem. That when the moment a transaction starts from the manufacturer till it receives its consumer, there are so many people who are a part of the supply chain ecosystem. There are ton loads of paperwork, and at the end of the day, it's all about the consensus of unless, let's say, if I'm sending a flower, I'll give an example. If I have to send a flower from the US to Germany, just to send that one flower or export, there are 83,000 papers work which are involved in there. Do that. And to get that part done, you would need ton loads of resources to have it done. And what happens in that scenario, that even we have ton of resources, the things never get on reach on time, because these people are not centrally synced with each other. These people are not decentralized. They're centrally synced with each other, and they're not even aware about that. If a ship is, let's say, if a ship is moving from port A to port B, then people of port and port B are not at all synced, and they even don't bother to do that. But when we put this whole ecosystem on the blockchain, everyone is available about a transparent system. Everyone is available about that how things are actually operating. The moment a ship is moving from one place to another, the smart contracts are the places which will get executed, because smart contract is one of the next application of blockchain which is being actively used and implemented, for that you can design and write a code and where you can get your job done in the blockchain without even having anyone involved. And that's how supply chain will be one of the most biggest aspect of the blockchain. Now, if you see a trends of blockchain, if you go on Google, this is a Google trend picture where you will see that how people are looking globally about the blockchain trend. It's being one of the most searched word on the Google right now. Blockchain job trends, as I said in the very first class, that I am hiring. I mean, we're hiring people like crazy in the blockchain ecosystem, and that's the whole world is doing the same. Blockchain job trend has boomed up so much that we are finding a scarcity of the resources, the people who can actually get and be a part of this ecosystem. Salary part, if I talk about salaries are way more bigger than, and the paychecks are way more bigger than what we have in the current. So maybe a Java developer right now might get a 50% or 70% more hike when he becomes a blockchain developer in Java. So that's one part. Or a consultant as of now in a SAP or HINA might get a 50% hike more when he become a blockchain consultant. Or analyst in any of the applications might become a analyst, get more salary. So every part is going to have this way. Hold on, what happened? Just this way. Oh, hold on, guys. Can you see my PPT in screen? Looks like it's not there. Hold on, folks. Can you see it now? I hope yes. All right. So now, who should go for these roles? It's very important that if you are a cloud professional, it gives an add-on to become a cloud consultant for blockchain. So again, it's okay for people. So I'll tell you one part of it. Now, sometimes it happens that people think that who are from technology have an advantage to this blockchain technology. I differ that, because as I said, I'm not just an engineer. I've been into this industry for a long time. People who are from non-technology background, they have more than tons of options to do something blockchain. And I've given you three options right away: architect, consultant, analyst. Be any of them, and you will have a good role for the rest of your life. People who are in technology, it becomes easy for them to become a developer. So that is the benefit that you will do and technology side to be a developer, and if you belong from a technology, and it's easy for you to move from your stack to become a blockchain developer. So there are different kind of roles that I have: blockchain architect, blockchain consultant, blockchain developer, blockchain analyst. There's so many other roles that will come down the line when things are starting to evolve, because this technology is evolving right now, and it's going to take a lot of time to get it evolved completely in the market. Now, oh, I have Saurabh. Saurabh wants to say how I can register in this course. Saurabh, let me just quickly show you. You need to go on this website, edureka.co, and you can just type blockchain in here, and then you will see this course, I believe, names it blockchain certification. You can go and click on there and just click on start learning, and you can buy any of this course. You'll see the batch timings are there. You can actually find the batch timings, and if you're like me, I'm taking a lot of batch codes. About discount code, I'm not the right person. You need to reach out to the Edureka team to get that done, because they have some Christmas offers. I can see on the screen some buy one get two 20% cashback offer. For that, you will need to please reach out to Edureka folks. I'm not the right person for that. Hema, this course is going to be 60-40, 64% going to be concept, 40% going to be the hands-on on the case. Which software you don't have to do anything. Hema, we will have a virtual machine which is having all the aspects of software, so you don't have to do anything. You just need to download that virtual machine, and that is it. All right, guys. So Saurabh, this is the place you can actually go and download. Download. No, you can register yourself, and as I said, there are multiple batches coming into play, so you can find. So I'm not sure which is my batch in this. I'm taking a couple of batches in the month of January, so you can sync with people if you want to come in my batch, which is the batch Vishal is taking. Mini project, I would not say mini project, but I can say yes also, because we will be deploying a private blockchain on Ethereum. So that is one of the projects that you can take as a POC for yourself. We will deploy a private blockchain. We will see how blockchain operates. We will see how mining works, etc., and all those aspects. All right, so you can guys can do. So sorry, we can go there and get this done. Content of this course. I mean, at the end of this course, what can be learned by a non-engineer who don't know anything about programming? As I said, if you see in this website, you will see about the course content. Let me quickly show you. You will see this is the course content. You will learn about the Bitcoins, blockchain, mining. You will understand about Ethereum. We will see how to deploy the Ethereum platform. And for that, you don't have to be a programmer or even a technical background person. That's fine. You can still do it good, because I've trained I'll tell you guys, I've trained more than 1,500 plus hours globally now. And one thing that I've said to a lot of people, that you don't need to know about programming in order to become a blockchain guy. And that's the best part about this technology, that's not specific to a platform. For example, like in order to let's say do an automation, you might know Python, but it's strict to a language. So blockchain is not it's specific to a programming language or a technology. So as I said, it's a concept. It's not a technology. It's a concept which you can build and put in a lot of technologies come together to get that job done. In this course, you will see about Ethereum, Hyperledger, multi-chain, and how we will deploy it. We will see all of it throughout the course. Now, when to start? Right away. Now, this certification to Edureka, I'll just give you a quick about that. You can actually, get these certifications. We can get these courses for the rest of life. I mean, whatever happens on the blockchain aspect in Edureka, that's one thing I like about these people, is that you can actually access your course, and whenever there's an upgrade coming into the course, you will always be able to access those new contents, and that will help you in a different aspect in a way. All right, guys, this will be a complete course outline. Starts from the blockchain, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoins, Ethereum, Hyperledger, multi-chain, and all those products we will cover in a span of 30 hours. We will see a lot of use water benefits. Obviously, it's a live interactive session that makes it the most best part. So it's not a pre-recorded session, so you will have someone like me, or me in that case, to go through this whole session that will help you more. They have a best support, I must say that, because I face a lot of trouble. So those supports are working 24/7, so you can give that work. And the certificates is recognized to an industry now, so that will help you to fetch a job if you can do this course. So that brings us to the end of the session, guys, and I am really excited to see any of you to join, all of you to join the courses. And please, for doing that, I show you how to do that. If you have any further queries, please go and ask to talk to Dureka people. They have some offers going on. I'm not sure what of that because I'm not from Dureka. I said, I give my passion to this industry, and that passion helps me to build my aspects. That's it. Um, I'm not really sure. You need to, guys, for anything about the timing issues, you need to talk about. You need to talk to these things with the Direka people. Oh, all these recordings, all these sessions are recorded, Mr. Patel, so you can actually get that. You can actually get things when you are not there. All right, people asking. So this is me, guys. This is Vishal Nigam. That's just about me. You can find about me on LinkedIn if you want to see me, and that's how things is gonna happen. All right, perfect. All right, folks, that's me. If you want my name, you can tell them that you want Vishal's to be your guy. That's fine. I'm not sure I'm gonna have batches. I'll just see if I have batches. I need to see, guys. I'm sorry, I'm not. Oh, perfect. Thanks, guys. So someone followed me on LinkedIn. It's very great. All right, folks. So it's really nice for you interacting with all of you. And now we get to take a break now from this one. And I'm looking forward to see how many of you can join the sessions or the courses, and we move from there. All right, everyone. Have a great day or good night, and we meet again in the sessions if I see any one of you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye. And yes, if you have any queries regarding the course for how to join and what are the offers, please do not hesitate to speak to Eureka people. They will be sure to help. They're nice folks. They help a lot. All right, everyone. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Bye.